Welcome to Last Week in Warframe, a series where I keep you updated on the past week of Warframe by compiling all DE's announcements and posts from the Warframe forums, Twitter, live streams, and more, all into one easy to consume video. So without further ado, let's go over these announcements and news from the 28th of October to the 10th of November. Update 26 The Old Blood is live on PC. The update was massive, and due to its size, I will have to link to my 3 patch note videos for those who want to watch and know every addition, change, and fix. For Grendel, Kuva Lich's Titania buffs, the list of Kuva weapons, the Parazon utility and assassination tool, arbitration changes, and more, there is a card on screen that will take you to a video covering them. For Ember and Vauban's reworks, general additions, general changes, and fixes, the card on screen will take you to my patch note video informing you on that information, and for everything Melee 3.0 Phase 2 that released with the Old Blood and what was changed, the card on screen will direct you towards that video. It contains all the information about Melee 3.0 Phase 2 that was provided in the update patch notes. Hotfixes have been covered in their own video. DE has released the following report threads on the forums for feedback and bug reporting, so links to each of these, just like usual, are in the description. There is the Old Blood bugs, Grendel and Massateer feedback, Ember and Vauban's feedback, Melee 3.0 Phase 2 techniques feedback, Melee 3.0 Phase 2 stat feedback, Kuva Lich, Parazon, Kuva weapons and more feedback, and the Old Blood general feedback forum posts. Now, after the release of Update 26, there were 6 follow-up hotfixes that released over the past 2 weeks that improved, changed, and fixed the Kuva Lich system, such as adding the ability to transfer higher stats from a duplicate Kuva weapon to one of your lower stat Kuva weapons, while maintaining former lenses or additions. One of these hotfixes had also released an opt-out feature for the Kuva Liches, where players just have to ignore and not mercy kill the downed Larveling during the Grineer mission stage. For more information about everything that was changed, fixed, and added in those hotfixes, I do have a single video recapping all that information, just like with the Update 26 videos. A card is displayed on screen that will take you straight to it. Once again, I do apologize for sending you off of this video and not providing all the information available, but each of the videos and information is rather long. Moving on though, prior to the release of the Old Blood, Steve had his usual pre-stream of the update, and the only comment of notice from this stream was the explanation of releasing Kuva Liches separately from Empyrean, so that does follow.
Some people have asked me why are the Liches coming out before that, and one of the things that we get into trouble with sometimes at DE is we take a bunch of interesting features we're all kind of working on in parallel to see if they work out. And if we tie them together and we can't release one without the other, if one slips, they all slip. So that's kind of what we decided to do, is try to break them apart, because I know we're long overdue for a meaty update, and so that's what we're doing here. So,
in regards to Requiem Fisher missions on the Kuva Fortress, Rebecca had confirmed on Reddit that Requiem Fishers can't appear on other Kuva Fortress nodes due to those missions having an Archwing sequence and being tagged with an Archwing requirement. In regards to Kuva Liches in multiplayer and the fix that occurred to shared murmur progress on Lich kills, a player had commented, "Right now, it is a very frequent occurrence where other players in your squad will refuse to interact with their Kuva Lich when it shows up. Some of it seems to stem from a lack of clarity in the system itself, and perhaps not understanding there's a frustration for the other squad members when you don't sacrifice yourself to a Lich." DE Bear responded to this post saying, "This is also something we are discussing. We don't want players to be held hostage in their own progression, but the execution of how to prevent that has to be handled correctly." In regards to the acquisition of Grendel, DE Rebecca said the following about the missions and player responses. Firstly, the complete stripping of player mods, arcanes, and any other upgrades is intentional. It is unknown if the use of augments remains intentional or not, but the following is responses from Rebecca in regards to players' posts. Player: "I just love them. Finally some content that makes me think about what build to bring and what damage types the weapons do that we bring. I know people are complaining that they think it's too hard, but it's good for someone to think about their game instead of just power up and kill anything without a blink. This will give a better sense of achievement and for sure will bring some skill development to the players." In response, Rebecca said, "They are definitely polarizing. Glad to hear you enjoy the preparation process and strategics." Another user saying, "Managed all 3 first try with pretty bad team comps. We of course took a Trinity Frost combo to the defense. But I'm convinced if we had all gone DPS frames, it would have just gone by faster." Rebecca said, "We did many playthroughs internally before launch with different team comps, and Frost Trinity to defense or Limbo is certainly a winning approach." Another said, "Who was talking about changing them? Are you finishing some imaginary discussion?" Rebecca replied, "Depending on where you look, some love it, some hate it." And the last user sharing, "You're insane. Nothing about those missions look remotely fun. If they don't change the mission, I'm not going to farm him, and I'm not going to support DE by buying him if they just intend to do crap like this now." Rebecca replied, ending her responses saying, "The defense one is receiving the most hate from what we are seeing. We are keeping an eye on it." Moving on though, weapon dispositions will now be different for each weapon and each of their variants from Vandals, Primes, Kuva, etc. At the moment of upload, this difference only occurs on Kuva variants, but with the release of the next Prime Access in December, it will be expanded to the aforementioned weapon variants. As shown, the standard Karak has different Riven stats, thus a different disposition to that of the Kuva Karak. So each variant of a weapon in the family has a different disposition value as of December. As for melee dispositions, DE will be making changes when they release the next Prime Access after December's, so the first Prime Access released in 2020 will have melee weapon disposition changes. DE are aware that Kuva Lich weapons are not applying their elemental bonus to the splash damage component of the shot. They are currently investigating, but a user did share his findings as well, saying, "That doesn't explain the discrepancy, to be honest. My Kuva Aenga has a perfect 54% radiation bonus for the stats listed, but it only has 321 total damage instead of its supposed 421. Its impact is almost perfect, 87 in Codex, 86.9 for mine. But its blast value, 187 in the Codex, 121.3 for mine, is literally lower than the base blast value. So I think it's more likely that the splash damage itself is somehow getting lowered prior to the bonus being applied." DE Mamor shared his findings, saying, "From what I can tell, there are two different issues. One is that the bonus doesn't apply to splash. If you test them in the simulacrum, I expect what you will find is that the weapon does 87 times 1 plus 0.54, which equals 134 damage for direct hit, and the base 187 on splash. Issue 2 is that the UI is getting confused. If you look at the arsenal's numbers, 121 plus 112 equals 233, minus the 47 bonus you're getting on direct impact, which equals the base damage. Right value applied in the wrong way." DE Mamor also shared that Life Strike on glaives activates when the glaive explodes in flight, causing radial damage, and anything else gets classed as a regular attack. On a bug report thread about melee mods, he also shared that he had no issues when testing adaptation, and asked players to elaborate on any bugs and issues that occur, such as the one reported, which was damage reduction is only reduced for the first hit of that type of damage, and doesn't reapply until the whole timer wears off. He also said quick thinking returning players to their Warframe while quick thinking is enabled and the player is in operator mode is intentional. He said the following: "Did not see an issue if the Warframe was invulnerable to damage. If your Warframe is not invulnerable to damage, i.e. you have left an active power running, it is intended that you be returned to your Warframe upon reaching minimum health. This is done to give you a fighting chance to get out of the situation where your Warframe is taking damage. The alternative is that your Warframe would consume all energy with quick thinking while you are not in it, and then when you get pulled back, you would instantly die with no opportunity to counterplay." As for the Amalgam Javlok mod, the removal of the reflection effect was deliberate. Mamor shared, "This mod was reworked to be more in line with the new melee systems, and now gives increased combo gain while blocking with a shield." For Nintendo Switch players, your 1-year anniversary event is live until the 2nd of December at 2 PM Eastern Time. Logging into the game will get you the Opal Imperator Syandana, the Opal Dexdacra skin, and a Forma. Completing the anniversary alert will also get you an Excalibur Noggle, and the Nintendo Color Palette can be purchased from the in-game market up until that date for 1 credit. For PlayStation 4 players, your 6th year anniversary event is live until the 2nd of December at 2 PM Eastern Time as well. Logging into the game gets you the Obsidian Kyroterra Syandana, the Obsidian Dexdacra skin, and a Forma. There are also 4 alerts, each rewarding 10,000 credits and a different reward. Alert 1 will get you the Obsidian Excalibur Noggle, Alert 2 will get you the Obsidian Azura Excalibur Noggle, Alert 3 will get you the Obsidian Ivara Noggle, and Alert 4 gets you an Obsidian Dex Furus skin. The PlayStation 4 color palette can also be purchased in the market alongside the Obsidian Azura Excalibur glyph for 1 credit. For people who pre-ordered the Sacrifice collection from the Warframe merch store, you should check your emails, but make sure to double check, of course, spam and all that. A link is in the description for double checking and whatnot, as you are eligible for 1000 platinum due to the delays on your items, and on top of that, you are also eligible for a 25% discount on the Empyrean collection when it becomes available, if you want to go through that again. DE Taylor confirmed that this email is legitimate, so if you are eligible, make sure to have a read of it, and according to Sherpa Rage, this offer is only available until the 25th of November 2019, and you will have to respond to the email accordingly. The Halloween event for this year, aka the light-based survival mission, will according to Rebecca be added back into the game one day with a less pumpkin-y flair. For TennoGen creators, Grendel's TennoGen files are now available in the Steam Workshop, and a link to the announcement post and information is in the description. The winners of the Orbital Haunt contest were announced and they have been displayed on screen. For Orbiters, they're up now, and for Dojo winners, they are also now up. 2 new contests are also running at the moment. This one ends within 24 hours of upload, but I am keeping it here for the sake of it, and that is the MoFrame of Mines contest. For more information about that, you can check out the forum post, but it should also be noted that due to it being Movember, the moustaches have returned to the game for the first time since around 2016, and they can be bought from the auxiliary slot in your arsenal. The second one is that of the Autumn 2019 featured Dojo contest, and just like the previous one, all information about that can be found on the forum post, so you don't have any issues. There was one developer tweet to highlight over the past 2 weeks, and that was from Rebecca, where she addressed players' thoughts that Lich missions are unrewarding outside of Murmur progress, and she said she would discuss it with the team. So that does conclude this episode of Last Week in Warframe. If you found the video informative, make sure to leave a like. If you think I can improve upon the series in any way, shape or form outside of sharing my own opinion, make sure to let me know in the comments section down below. If you want the channel glyph, they are up on your screen. There are 5 codes per platform. You can also find them at the end of each video. If you want to check out last week's episode, the annotation is on your screen. It'll take you right to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.